You were like beefing with like Paddy the Batty.
The quality of the fighter he is, man, come on, please. Don't even compare me to that boom, because we are on different levels and everyone can see that. It's very disrespectful to me, to my country, to all my people. And he said something. Now I understand why the Russians put the bombs in Georgia. When you start to joke about that kind of things, just make sure that we don't find each other anywhere, because I'm gonna take your fucking head off. He wants to build his hype laughing at people, and that's not the way I'm looking to build a hype.
UFC is on fire right now with some serious callouts, and things are getting personal. Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett's beef isn't going away, and it looks like Ilia still isn't interested in settling things with a handshake. Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall is done waiting for Jon Jones and is questioning if Jones even wants to fight him. And then there's Magomed Ankalaev, who's not only calling for a rematch with Alex Pereira, but also taking shots at Jones, making it clear he wants that fight too. With all these challenges being thrown around, the real question is, who actually gets their fight booked first?
English, yeah?
Hey,
speak English.
You want to talk to me like the man to man? You said something about me. I went to your country. I slap your face. I get at the wasting win. I walk like a king in your street.
Are you talking English?
And what you did? What you
Is
did?
that English?
Man? Yeah, of course I do.
Speak English for the people.
Shut up.
Not German or Spanish like you're from.
I'm talking in English, and fuck you in English.
The rivalry between Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett isn't just another social media beef. It's been growing since 2022, and neither fighter seems interested in letting it go. It all started at UFC London, where a backstage altercation nearly turned physical. Pimblett had made some offhanded comments about Georgia, Ilia's home country, and Topuria wasn't about to let that slide. Things escalated quickly, with Ilia throwing a hand sanitizer bottle at Paddy, and from that moment on, their feud was set in stone. Since then, the two have been taking jabs at each other whenever they get the chance. Whether it's in interviews, social media posts, or fight week press conferences, there's been no shortage of insults between them. Paddy has downplayed the rivalry, acting like he doesn't take Topuria seriously, but Ilia, he's made it clear he has no respect for Pimblett. Fast forward to UFC 286 and the two ran into each other again. This time, Pimblett extended a fist bump, seemingly offering a truce. Topuria, however, wasn't having it. He completely ignored Paddy's gesture, making it obvious that he still considers him an enemy. But here's the catch. Topuria is now the UFC featherweight champion, while Paddy is still competing in the lightweight division. On paper, this fight doesn't make sense right now. Pimblett isn't in title contention, and Topuria has his hands full defending the belt. However, their rivalry keeps resurfacing, and UFC loves a fight with a built-in storyline. If Paddy starts climbing the ranks at 155, could the UFC be tempted to make this fight happen? Stranger things have happened, especially in a sport where bad blood sells pay-per-views. Tom Aspinall isn't sitting around waiting for his shot. He's making it known that he wants Jon Jones, and he wants him now. Jones was originally set to face Stipe Miocic, but an injury sidelined him. Now, there is no clear timeline for his return, and Aspinall is growing impatient. For Aspinall, the situation is simple. Jones either fights him or retires. He's been vocal about this, saying he respects Jones, but doesn't believe he should be holding up the division. The UFC interim heavyweight champ has made it clear, if Jones can't commit to a fight soon, it's time to move on. The issue is that UFC had already locked in Jones versus Miocic as the fight they wanted, but with Jones recovering and Miocic not taking any other fights, the division is in limbo. Aspinall doesn't want to sit on the sidelines waiting for something that might not happen. He's been dominant in his recent fights, and many believe he's the true top heavyweight right now. So what does the UFC do? Do they force Jones to fight Aspinall once he's healthy, or do they let him take the Miocic fight and make Aspinall defend his interim belt? The longer this drags out, the more pressure builds on the UFC to make a decision. If Jones vs. Miocic doesn't happen soon, Aspinall may finally get what he wants, a shot at the undisputed title.
You know, it's obvious that his team is nervous. His team knows that he's got problems with his wrestling. And he knows that I can do stand-up. He knows that I can wrestle. And so it doesn't really matter what was said or who's confident or not. Now we have the fight. Now we have this opportunity. We're 100% ready. We're gonna do whatever we can to get this victory.
Magomed Ankalaev is making it loud and clear. He wants another shot at Alex Pereira, and he isn't afraid to stir the pot to get it. After their fight, which saw Pereira walk away with the light heavyweight title, Ankalaev was quick to claim things weren't fair. Now he's demanding a rematch in August, arguing that he deserves another shot at UFC gold. He's accusing Pereira of greasing during their fight. According to Ankalaev, Pereira's skin was too slippery, making it difficult for him to get a solid grip during grappling exchanges. Greasing allegations aren't new in MMA, but they're serious. Fighters have been penalized in the past for applying substances that make them harder to hold on to. If Ankalaev truly believes this happened, it adds another layer of controversy to their first fight. However, without concrete evidence, it's unlikely that UFC will take any action. But Ankalaev isn't just focused on Pereira. He's also got his sights set on Jon Jones. In a recent interview, he didn't hold back, calling Jones Johnny Chicken Bones and daring him to drop back down to light heavyweight to fight him. It's a bold call-out considering Jones has been competing at heavyweight, but Ankalaev seems to think he can lure him back down. The real question is, does he actually get his shot? UFC hasn't confirmed anything yet, and Pereira seems more interested in defending his belt against new challengers. If Pereira moves on to a different opponent, Ankalaev will have to wait or fight someone else to earn another title opportunity. As for Jones, there's almost no chance he moves back to light heavyweight, so that call-out might be more about getting attention than an actual fight offer. Still, Ankalaev is staying in the conversation, and in the fight game, that's half the battle.
I like Paddy the Baddy. I think he brings a lot of publicity to the UFC.
Paddy Pimblett and UFC title talk usually don't go in the same sentence, but thanks to Henry Cejudo, that's exactly what's happening. The former champ recently suggested that if Paddy beats Michael Chandler, he could be in the title picture. That statement alone sent MMA fans into a frenzy. But let's be real, Cejudo's prediction isn't sitting well with a lot of people. The backlash came fast, with former welterweight champ Kamaru Usman being one of the first to shut it down. Usman made it clear that there are actual top contenders in line, like Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje, and that Pimblett simply hasn't done enough to be in that conversation. And he's not wrong. Paddy hasn't fought a single ranked opponent in the lightweight division yet. His biggest wins have come against unranked fighters, and while he's popular, that doesn't automatically translate to a title shot. The UFC usually rewards winning streaks, high-level competition, and impressive performances, none of which Paddy has consistently shown at a top level. So is this just hype, or is there something real behind it? Right now, it's mostly just talk. UFC knows Paddy is a star, and they'll push him as much as they can, but giving him a title shot would be a stretch. First, he'd have to beat a big name like Chandler, and even then, he'd likely need another win over a top 5 opponent before the UFC seriously considers him for a championship fight. At the end of the day, hype can only take a fighter so far. If Paddy wants to be in the title conversation, he has to prove he belongs there.
I want a blonde that Paddy.
With all the call-outs and rivalry talk, the real question is, who's actually getting their fight first? Some matchups make sense, while others feel like long shots. Let's break it down. Ilia vs Paddy, Ilia Topuria and Paddy Pimblett have history, and their rivalry still grabs attention. But a fight between them doesn't seem likely anytime soon. The biggest issue? They're in different weight classes. Topuria is the featherweight champ, while Paddy is still finding his place in the lightweight division. Unless Paddy suddenly decides to cut weight or Ilia moves up, this one is just talk. However, UFC loves bad blood, and if the hype around this feud keeps growing, the promotion might find a way to make it happen. For now though, Ilia is focused on defending his belt, while Paddy has yet to fight a ranked opponent in his division. Aspinall versus Jones? Tom Aspinall wants Jon Jones, and he's not being subtle about it. The interim heavyweight champ has repeatedly questioned whether Jones actually wants to fight him, especially with Jones sidelined due to injury. Aspinall has even gone as far as saying that Jones should retire if he's not willing to defend his belt. The problem? Jones was originally set to fight Stipe Miocic, and UFC still seems committed to that matchup. If Jones recovers and sticks to the plan, Aspinall might be forced to wait or defend his interim title again before getting his shot. It all depends on what the UFC values more, giving Jones the Miocic fight they promised or setting up a title unification bout with Aspinall. Ankalaev vs Pereira? This one might have the best chance of actually happening. Magomed Ankalaev wants a rematch, and he's been vocal about it, especially with the greasing accusations he threw at Pereira. If UFC decides to run it back, August could be the timeline. Pereira, however, might have other options. The light heavyweight champ could be looking for fresh challengers instead of going over old fights. That said, if UFC feels there's unfinished business between these two, this rematch could be locked in sooner rather than later. Paddy's title talk? Let's be real, Paddy Pimblett getting a title shot right now is highly unlikely. He hasn't beaten a ranked opponent, and while Henry Cejudo's prediction stirred up some discussion, top fighters like Kamaru Usman shut it down fast. What's more realistic is UFC giving Paddy a high-profile fight next. If he wins convincingly, then maybe, just maybe, he could enter the conversation. But as of now, the title shot talk is mostly hype. Who do you think is getting their fight first? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fight updates.